Blackburn, a member of the Senate Judiciary, Veterans Affairs, and the Finance and Commerce Committees. Senator, it's good to see you. Thanks very much for being here. And I know that you are working on a bill that would give states and local authorities the power to enforce federal immigration law, including helping to deport illegal migrants, Senator. Do you think the president will bring up Laken Riley tonight?
I do not expect that he will bring up Laken Riley. He should have invited her parents, and he should have said her name. He should have publicly apologized to this family. Look, the system failed Laken Riley twice. New York, where they apprehended and let him go, and then again in Athens when he was stopped for shoplifting, and then the police there let him go, because these are cities that have declared themselves sanctuary cities. And that's why I dusted off the CLEAR Act, which is legislation I had when I was in the House, and it would require ICE to work with local law enforcement, and when they apprehend someone, they get that order of removal, they have to go take them and remove them. And this is how you deal with criminal illegal aliens that are in this country, Maria. And Joe Biden should admit that this border policy of his, an open border, is what has caused so much harm, so much crime, has caused murders here in our country. And it is because of Joe Biden's border policy that you are seeing these rapes, these murders, these carjackings,
so terrible,
these thefts.
Yeah.
It is terrible, the gangs that are in this country now because of this policy.
I want to get your take on what one of your colleagues told me this week, and that is Senator Roger Marshall from Kansas told me that the Chinese Communist Party is really the senior player here. They're working with the junior player, which is the drug cartels, and
That's
they
right.
are helping people into America. And then the CCP is setting up massage parlors and other stores that are fronts for human trafficking. Then I asked John Schell, the chief of patrol from the NYPD, if in fact he's seeing this, and he said yes. So I want you to comment and react to what we heard from Kansas Senator Roger Marshall, followed by John Schell, the chief of patrol at the NYPD. Watch this, Senator.
We're seeing an explosion of human trafficking. The Chinese Triad, which is an organized crime unit, a multinational, been around for hundreds of years, is behind this. And wherever you're seeing fentanyl trafficking, you're going to see human trafficking explode as well. We have more massage parlors than we do Starbucks now in Kansas, and certainly I think that can be said in most every state. So this Chinese Triad, I mean, they are sophisticated. Your listeners need to understand that this is not the dirty workers like the cartel. The cartel is doing the dirty work, but the Chinese Triad is very sophisticated, Harvard-trained lawyers, Harvard-trained accountants that master the money laundering part of this. So you're going to see massage parlors spring up, and then next to them might be a restaurant, it might be a hair salon, a nail salon, those types of things.
We have shut down this year about 13 brothels that are a mixture of Asian workers and migrant workers. And we're still going after it. And it's terrible. The community applauds us for it, and we're trying to help these women who are victims of these people. It's terrible. The Queens DA is working with us very well with this. The local elected officials are working with us, but it's a problem. We see it, and we're dealing with it.
Senator, what is your reaction? John Schell said in New York the headquarters for all of this is in Flushing, Queens. He said Roosevelt Avenue. He was very specific. What have you been seeing?
And what we know is that human trafficking is now a $150 billion a year industry, as they call it globally. And yes, you do have the Chinese cartel, if you will, working with the Mexican cartels. And they are the pushers on drugs and fentanyl into this country, which is the largest killer of our young people. They are pushing these human trafficking rings. But Maria, I would also note that as we have seen these Chinese-oriented police stations, if you want to call them that, for lack of a better word, spring up. And you do see the sex trafficking. And you do have your big city mayors and sanctuary cities now complaining again about this. You're also seeing this infiltration into our nation's universities. You're seeing it into different religious organizations, because what this Chinese cartel likes to do is go pick off somebody that they think is credible and then use them to try to needle and push against people who are for the rule of law. And they are very aggressive because, you know what? Joe Biden is weak. They know he is weak. They know he is not going to call them down. They feel like they've got running room, and if they're going to take us down, they're going to do it internally. 24,000 Chinese young men coming across the border in 1 year. It's not explainable. Joe Biden's border policy has broken this. He is held responsible for it.
I'd like to know if any changes in the Senate will mean changes here. Will you be able to secure the border? I mean, New Jersey Senator Bob Menendez is facing new obstruction charges in the bribery case this morning. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is refusing to call for his resignation, though. Watch this.
Senator Menendez is facing another round of indictments. Is it time for him to resign?
Look, the bottom line, as I've said, the Senate has certain standards that we must live up to. I am very disappointed that Senator Menendez has not lived up to those standards.
But why are you okay with him serving in your caucus, sitting on committees, attending classified briefings when he's been charged with bribery, conspiracy, obstruction of justice?
As I've said, the Senate has standards. We should all be living up to those standards. I'm deeply disappointed that Senator Menendez has not.
Senator, he's deeply disappointed, but not disappointed enough to throw him out of the Senate because he needs his vote.
And the Senate has, the Democrats have that one vote majority. And, you know, Maria, I am putting my efforts in being certain that Republicans take the majority in the Senate and that we have a Republican majority leader and we have Donald Trump in the White House so we can get this country back on track.
Yeah, I mean, Mitch McConnell finally endorsed Donald Trump on his way out for president. We know that now. But South Dakota Senator John Thune and Texas Senator John Cornyn are now running to replace the minority leader, Mitch McConnell, in November. I spoke with a couple of senators, your colleagues, about this. Kentucky Senator Rand Paul was with me yesterday. He said he will not support either of them. Watch this.
They're both advocates of sending our money to Ukraine as well. I'm not going to support any candidate who wants to shovel more money out the door to foreign countries. And so I'm not voting for anybody in leadership who continues to work with Democrats to bankrupt the country through domestic spending and who continues to send our money overseas. I'm just not voting for those people. And many of those people running are no different than Senator McConnell in perspective.
That's basically what J.D. Vance said as well, Senator. How does this play out, and who do you want to see in the seat?
I want to see somebody in that seat who can actually give a strong message to the American people about what we need to do to save this country. I want somebody in that seat who's going to say to Donald Trump, I'm going to be your partner, I'm your wingman, let's get things done in the U.S. Senate. That is what I'm wanting to see, because we have a country to save. As a mom, as a grandmom, as someone who talks to Tennesseans every single day, this is what they want to see. This is what they're wanting me to ask for in a Republican majority leader for the Senate.
All right. We will be watching that. Senator, it's good to see you as always. Thank you so much.
Good to see you.
Senator
Thanks.
Marsha Blackburn joining us. We'll be right back.